Chapter 6. Lottie and Rudy, Tuesday evening, the 29th of August, 1939. Tilly had to find her gas mask box before they sat down to tea so that Dad wouldn't have another excuse to snap at her. She finally dug it out from under the bed and, slipping the string around her shoulders, she walked downstairs and into the kitchen. Dad was reading aloud a bit from the paper. "And you wouldn't believe the rumours going round, Mother," he said. He spotted Tilly's gas mask and nodded. Then he went on, "Listen to this. One woman said to another in the bus queue, there's gas that kills people and leaves them standing bolt upright in the middle of the street." "Oh," said Mum. "I thought that was true," Mrs. Benson said, "as much as last week." "That would be horrible," said Tilly, with a grimace. "For goodness sakes, it's all stuff and nonsense, just stupid war rumours," said Dad, and he gave Tilly a broad grin. "Don't you go listening to anything that woman says. Pass the bread and butter, Tilly, and help your mother put out the cutlery." Tilly laid the table and then said, "I heard today that in the last war they were all saying the Russians had landed in the East End with snow on their boots." Dad let out a laugh. "That's another rumour. Well, we're not going to lose our sense of humour just because of a stupid war, eh, Mother?" But Mum just wiped her forehead and dished up the stew. "Do you want a war, Dad?" asked Tilly as she wondered how on earth she would save stew and mashed potatoes for Bonnie. "No, of course not. But we have to stop Hitler, or none of us would be safe." Dad mixed gravy with his mash and then said more thoughtfully, as if he was worried he would scare her, "But don't you worry, love. You'll be far away from it all." "I can never stop worrying about Bonnie," thought Tilly. "Why can't Dad understand?" Just as they finished, a polite knock came on the front door. "Who's that at tea time?" said Mum. "I'll go," said Tilly, relieved to get away from the table. She ran down the corridor and opened the front door. On the steps stood a girl of about 16. She had very pale skin and dark shadows under her eyes, with a hunted look about her. She wore a drab white blouse and black skirt, and her hair hung neatly in two light brown plaits. "Please, I am Lottie," said the girl in what sounded like a German accent. Tilly stared at her, wondering if the war had started and this was the enemy already on the doorstep. She looked up and down the street, almost expecting to see soldiers marching past, but there was only the postman delivering the last letters of the day. "Who is it?" she heard Dad's voice thunder down the hallway. "Please, Tilly, you must help me. It is my poor brother, Rudy." She dropped her arm behind her and pulled a small boy round. He had the same dark eyes and the same bruised look, and he was even paler than Lottie. He wore grey shorts and a grey school shirt, and in his arms was the sweetest little Dachshund Tilly had ever seen. "They want to kill him," whispered Lottie. In that instant, Tilly knew she meant the dog. She swung round and called out, "Just my friends from school, Dad. We're going to play in my room." Before Dad could answer or come down the hallway to see who was there, Tilly put her finger to her lips, beckoned to the children on the path, and they all ran lightly up the stairs and into Tilly's room without a word. Tilly closed the door and let out her breath. "Phew," she said. "That was close. We mustn't let Dad know there's a dog in the house. The grown-ups want to kill all the pets." Rudy pressed her face into her dog's chocolate brown fur, which looked to Tilly as smooth as silk. The dog was resting his long, slender nose on Rudy's arm, and Tilly thought his dark eyes were almost as beautiful as Bonnie's. She wondered with a pang if Bonnie was still barking for her in the hut. "Alec Benson lives next door," Lottie whispering. "He tells us you are keeping safe some pets. He tells us a password too, but I forget it. I am so sorry. Tilly, but I come to you and ask you please to save Hanno." Lottie pulled Tilly over the window. "I need Hanno to save Rudy. He does not speak since he came to England. He is very homesick." "Where are you from?" asked Tilly. "Frankfurt." Lottie stared into Tilly's eyes and then looked away. "Germany?" Lottie nodded and then looked back again, saying quickly, "But we are not your enemy, Tilly. Please believe me. A lot of good Germans run away from Hitler and the Nazis. They hate them like you." "Oh," said Tilly, but she wasn't sure what to believe. What if they were spies? Then the Dachshund wriggled in Rudy's arms and gave a little sneeze, blinked his eyes as if he was surprised himself, until he couldn't help laughing. "My dog Bonnie has exactly the same look when she sneezes," she said. "Oh, you have a dog too? That's very nice," said Lottie, with a strange smile on her face. "Do you keep her in a safe place?" "Oh, yes. Dad says he wants to put her down. The grown-ups are so cruel." Lottie nodded. "Yes, it is. Terrible, horrible." Tilly couldn't help smiling, and the older girl blushed and said, "Excuse, my English is not good, but please, Tilly." She plucked Tilly's blouse as if to try and make her listen. "Rudy misses Papa and Mutie so much. They put us on a train to England to be safe. We are not your enemy, Tilly. Please to trust us. Trust me, Hitler is the enemy." They stood in complete silence for a moment. Tilly wondered if Lottie was telling the truth, and then she thought, how could this brother and sister do anyone any harm? And they loved their pet, just like me and Rosie. "Did you bring Hanno with you on the train?" "No, it is not permitted. Mutie's friend bring Hanno to England, and he put to quarantine. Now he is free and healthy, but Rudy's foster parents, Mr. and Mrs. Evans. Do you know them?" Tilly nodded. The Evanses lived opposite, further down the street, next to Alec Benson and his mum. "They are such good people for Rudy." Lottie's eyes filled with her tears again. "Mutie is very happy Rudy is in a safe house. But now the Evans say Hanno must die. They do not understand about Rudy. They say all the pets must die. But Tilly, you understand." Lottie gripped Tilly's arm hard and locked eyes with her. Tilly didn't feel it was right to look away, even though she felt rather uncomfortable. "Rudy starts to speak when Hanno comes home," hissed Lottie, glancing over her shoulder again. "But now he stops because he is so sad. If Hanno killed, maybe Rudo never speaks again. What do I say to Mutie and Papa after the war finished? I am looking after Rudy. Mutie says I must. Please, Tilly, help me save Rudy and take Hanno to your safe place." Tilly's head was whirling. They were Germans, but not Nazis. Their parents had sent them away, and Rudy was living with foster parents. But what about Lottie? "Don't you have foster parents too?" "I work in big house, clean kitchen, change beds. I am servant." "Oh, don't you want to stay at school?" Lottie's head dropped. "I am not English girl like you, Tilly. I must work for my food. But Rudy is good boy, study in the school, and he loves Hanno too much too." "But you can't love your dear little pet too much," thought Tilly, "can you?" She made her mind up. "Of course we'll take Hanno. Bring them to the bridge over the canal at 9 tomorrow morning." Lottie spun on her heels and directed an excited stream of German towards Rudy, who nodded, his face buried in Hanno's neck. Then he gave a low bow and said in a small voice, "Dzięki, Tilly." Lottie's face lit up at the sound of Rudy's voice. "What did he say?" asked Tilly. "Yes, thank you." Lottie grabbed Tilly's hands and swung them to and fro. "You are good, kind girl, and Papa will reward you when he comes to England." "No need," said Tilly. "This is the children's war, saving our pets." "Yes, you are right. The children are at war too, but now we must go." They all went downstairs, and Tilly let the brother and sister out of the front door before Mum and Dad could see them. She wasn't exactly sure what they might say about the enemy coming into the house. As she lay in bed that night, Tilly thought about Hitler and his Nazis. "We've got Lottie and Rudy now," she said out loud, "and they're staying right here, safe in England, with their dear little dog in our emergency zoo. So put that in your pipe and smoke it, Mr. Hitler." "Doof tap," she whispered before she fell.